The Progressive Era in the early 20th century. The Progressive Era was a time period from roughly 1890 to 1920. It was a time period in the U.S. where many people believed that the government should be used to address social problems like poverty, illiteracy, and improving working conditions across the nation. Huey P. Long. He was a very, very popular governor in Louisiana in political career. His political career spanned from 1928 to 1935, but his career was ridiculed or riddled with scandal. He had a very important program that helped a lot of people called the Share Our Wealth program. It was a social program that involved helping the common man. He was also known for really having a lot of support from the populist movement, which was a movement or a populist party, which was in most cases low-income families, or I guess you could say the blue-collar working society. Many minority groups supported him more than any other candidate that had come before him. Next, we have Prohibition. Prohibition was an actual outlawing or banning of liquor throughout the United States. It actually created more problems than it did good. Yes, you don't have drunks, as many drunks and bums on the corners, but you do have an insight or a large creation of crime due to the smuggling of liquor and illegal sales of it after it was banned. Next, you have World War I that pops up. Brief overview of World War I was a major conflict between European nations. The European nations were called the Allied Powers, and you also have, well, actually, they were a combination of nations, European nations. The Allied Powers, which also included the U.S. toward the end, and you also have the Central Powers that were made up of a few different European countries we'll talk about in depth. Louisiana actually profited from the war. It spurred an economic boom throughout the war years because we're actually able to supply a lot of these countries involved with goods needed for war efforts. Next, we have the Great Depression, which was an economic downturn in the United States that lasted from 1929 to into the 1940s. It was a period of depression and non-economic growth, where many people were without jobs and money for long periods of time. Another major component of the Progressive Era was the women's suffrage movement, which simply deals with women fighting for the right to vote. Women had fought for the right to vote for a long time, and eventually were able to, which eventually was given to them with the passage of the 19th Amendment. Next, we have an image depicting the Great Flood of 1927 that sparked the development of our extensive levee system that we still have to this day. The Great Flood was when the Mississippi River actually overpoured its banks, and actually it flooded in some parts 100 miles from its banks, creating mass destruction and billions of dollars in loss.